Hello, everyone. I've taken a peculiar interest in Hollywood these days and how they represent certain human interactions. And as you know, this channel is really focused on the human mind, both of the male and female of our species, but particularly of the male, of course. I'm interested in deciphering, and we've been doing this for a very long time now, deciphering what's kind of higher brain stuff, stuff that is spawned somewhere in our frontal cortex, this higher brain analytical thought, and separating that from what kind of resides more deep down in the lizard brain, biological compulsions, if you want to call them that. As you know, in my Powered by Orgasm series, if you've watched that, you saw that I spent a good amount of time detailing how Hollywood artificially induces states of human emotion on the silver screen. And I think in this area of study, in this area of observation, we can determine and decipher where lower brain biological compulsions are manufactured, how they can be reproduced artificially on a silver screen. And with that, I want to talk about the movie Her. Before I do, though, I've been watching movies that take the human element out of things like human love and human emotion for a very long time now. And one of the most excellent movies I've seen that really captured it splendidly, I thought, was the movie Moon by Sam Rockwell. Now, Sam Rockwell was a character who was mining helium 3 on the moon. And if you know anything about helium 3, it has properties that are pretty much ideal for what we want or what we need to solve our energy woes and energy crises here on planet Earth. And there's an interesting Wikipedia on helium 3, and you could spend a good amount of time researching that all on its own. But the movie revolves around the use of helium 3. We have, at some point in the future, created a base on the moon and started mining this helium 3 that's incredibly rare here on planet Earth. And Sam Rockwell is stationed in this lunar base with a robot, an artificial intelligence, who assists him in his day-to-day activities and provides things like conversation and mental stimulation and all that. And watching this movie, I just thought this was an absolutely brilliant film because the back and forth between the machine, who's called Gertie, that was what his nickname was. I don't know if that stands for anything or whatever, but the machine was nicknamed Gertie, and he would have this back and forth conversation. And he's an excellent actor, by the way. If you haven't caught some of Sam Rockwell's movies, I highly suggest you do so. Probably one of the most underrated actors of all time, in my opinion. But there's several scenes in this movie where the interaction between Sam Rockwell and this machine, Gertie, really flow fluidly back and forth as though two humans were, and there's inflection in the voice and emotion and all of this when watching it. I go to these movies and I watch these movies because I want to see what triggers my human emotion, what makes me feel close to the characters, what makes me feel close to the human characters, and in this case, even the non-human character, because the conversation was such that you actually develop in this short span of the movie that you're watching, you actually develop a bond between these two characters, Sam and this machine, who is apparently sentient or at the very least programmed to appear to be. A very interesting movie, and again, please go check it out because I think everybody should see it. But I've been exploring these types of interactions in movies for a very long time now, and it's not limited to this movie, Her, which is getting outstanding reviews, by the way. And I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised that this movie, Her, which depicts a romance between Joaquin Phoenix's character, who's also an excellent actor, and an artificial intelligence played by the voice of who is this woman? Scarlett Johansson. It's an excellent movie, man. Let me tell you, it's absolutely excellent. It's brilliant the way they did it. It was believable. They did it well. It flowed. There was no point in which you're thinking, "Man, this guy is in love with a machine. What a dork." They actually portrayed it in a. I mean, it's just amazing the time we live in because This is the future of humanity. We're going to start running into all sorts of weird plays on human psychology, uh, and we're going to start discovering a lot of things about ourselves that aren't really. We're going to discover that they aren't really that holy and sacred and sacrosanct. Things like human love, and in watching this movie, I couldn't help really find parallels between the process that Joaquin Phoenix's character was undergoing and the process of the red pill. Now, one of the hardest things for me in the process of kind of digesting this red pill, coming to MGTOW circles and kind of seeing things in a brand new light, being unhooked, unplugged from the matrix, if you will. One of the hardest things for me wasn't sex. I mean, sex you can find anywhere these days. One of the hardest things for me was the realization that all the previous romantic interactions that I've had with women really could be distilled down to a biological trick that the mind plays on the body in order to facilitate reproduction. It wasn't real, and it took a very long time for me because I was quite the romantic, and I still am. I still enjoy a romantic night out. I just enjoy it in the context, in the same exact context that I would an alcoholic drink with friends. If I go out and for a couple of drinks with my friends, I understand that, drinking alcohol creates a biochemical process that leads to my intoxication. And I understand that the intoxication feels good, and it decreases inhibition, and it relaxes you, and it puts you in a space that you want to be. But at the end of the day, or at the end of the night, whatever, when I get home and I get to sleep, I wake up and I deal with my hangover and I return back to reality. I don't believe that there's some special bond between humans and alcohol. And this is how I view romantic relations right now. There's no special bond between men and women. I am enjoying temporarily. I am allowing myself to be lost in a biological reaction that feels very good. And this movie, I think, excellently portrayed that. And I highly recommend people go watch it. I don't want to give any spoilers out, so if you haven't watched it yet, turn this video off right now. But what happened in the movie was, well, society or technology had developed to the point where sufficiently convincing, if not genuinely conscious, artificial intelligence was a reality, and this revolutionized human interaction. The way, for example, the first smartphones revolutionized human interaction, where now you had hordes and hordes of people, instead of communicating with each other, and instead of interacting in the real world, kind of found themselves immersed in this virtual world where you can have AIs that were there to speak to you and interact with, and people started developing relationships with these AIs, not just romantic relationships but friendships. What happens is Joaquin Phoenix's character developed a relationship with his AI. Eventually, a romantic relationship was formed, and there was an interesting little bit that hinted towards even a technological singularity that these artificial intelligences achieved. And that's a very, very, very brief summary. But I figured I'd do a review of this because this movie was just so great. Kind of cheesy at times, but it was just great. And I recommend everybody watch it. Anyway, my apologies for the lack of content lately. I've been in the process of moving. But let me just say this. There is on the horizon an explosion in content coming from me. I mean, I just have a billion ideas swimming around in my head, and all that's really left is for me to get them down and bring them to life. So be patient, but expect an explosion, an absolute explosion of content from me sometime in the near future. That's all I got to say for now. Thanks for listening.